The Supreme Court rules against Trump's tariffs. There's sewage in the Potomac River, and Obama just confirmed aliens. There's been a lot that's gone on this past week, and I want to dive into it. I'll see you on the other side. Well, good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching this. My name's Connor Ryan, and welcome to my brand new political podcast, The Beacon with Connor Ryan. Today, we have a few things to get into, like I mentioned in the opening. One of probably the biggest thing that has happened over this past week, the Supreme Court, on, when was it? Friday morning, 20th of February, ruled against Trump's tariffs. So I've got my notes here. The Supreme Court decided on February 20th that President Donald J. Trump, I can't speak right now, was not able to impose tariffs under IEPA, or IEEPA. That's EPA, in the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. So that was an act that's relatively new, actually. I think, I don't remember when I didn't put in my notes when it was first created, but essentially gives the president, in times of emergency, hence the name, control over the economy and stuff like. And Trump used it as a way to impose these tariffs on these other countries. Now, the Supreme Court has ruled that he's not able to use it for tariffs, but there's still a few other powers that it gives the president in terms of an emergency. Now, this is big because for the past year, most of Trump's power, international power, has come from tariffs. He's made really good trade deals with other nations and us through tariffs. He's gotten countries to stop wars, to back down in conflicts, that stop war before they happen, just get good trades for us through the use of tariffs. And the Supreme Court has rolled those back, and there's actually a chance that the U.S. now might have to pay back those tariffs. Now, I pray that we don't, because that's $130 billion that the U.S. government will lose. Now, that money hasn't been sitting up. We actually used that money to pay our troops last October and November, when the Democrats had shut the government down over funding for stupid bills. We used that money to feed single moms struggling during that time. We use that money for very good things, so we don't have that money. Trump actually is giving that money to many Americans. Well, we can't exactly take that money back. So how are we going to pay these companies, these foreign companies and foreign nations, back for these tariffs? Well, the answer would be more debt. Now, I don't have a history of this show, but for those who know me, they know I'm very much against the American debt. Now, it's something in the trillions. And I actually heard a statistic that blew my mind the other day. And that's this. If $1 million were spent every day since Jesus was born, it still wouldn't even equal $1 trillion. The U.S. Debt, the U.S. national debt, is like $130 trillion of debt, roughly, like approximately. I'm going off the top of my head. I don't have that number, and it's always changing, constantly climbing. That's a lot of money. The U.S. government has not been around since Jesus was born. We are a relatively young country. In fact, we are celebrating our 250th anniversary this year. It's a great milestone. However, it's also a testament to just how young of a nation we are. But back to tariffs. President Donald Trump, responded to the ruling by the Supreme Court by imposing tariffs on all countries of only 10%. Now, for most countries, in fact, I think all of them, that does bring it down. I think there's one or two that actually brings it up because we were just tariffing them how much they were tariffing us, and they tariffed us 6%, we tariffed them 6%. Now, according to this, so we now have to raise all of our tariffs up to 10%. And that actually brings it down a lot in countries like China and Russia, where it was much higher than 10%. So it's good for countries like that, which apparently the Democrats want to help out. Our public enemies number 1 and 2. Not that they're not good countries. They just typically are against what Americans stand for, especially China. Trump and Russia have been a bit more friendly than past presidents, but still they're not on great terms. So, how is Trump doing these tariffs if the Supreme Court ruled that he wasn't able to? Well, how he was originally doing it was under EPA, i.e., EPA, the International Emergency Economics Powers Act. And so the Supreme Court merely said that the president cannot impose tariffs under that act. So President Donald Trump put these 10% tariffs on with using a different act and a different bill, specifically Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974. So what does this mean? It means he can put tariffs on foreign countries. The president can tariff other countries. However, he cannot do individual tariffs. It has to be an overall tariff. So one tariff for all countries. Now that makes it so that we lose our number 1 biggest bargaining chip with other countries. So over the past year, Trump has secured a lot of military and other benefits for America through threatening tariffs. Honestly, it's simple as that. He had been threatening to tariff people, and if they gave us favorable outcome, he won it. And it was pretty effective. And actually, it was really effective. We stopped the wars and we got things a lot cheaper. I don't know about you, but gas here has been, over the past year, has been significantly cheaper than basically any time during Biden's administration. I think the first 6 months was around where it's at now. It quickly rise higher. Gas prices are not great. I wish Trump would focus a bit more on that because I like to drive. I need to drive a lot. Just having lower gas prices would help a lot. Instead, he's focused on other things like foreign relations, getting house prices down, and that kind of thing. So not as much gas as he was originally. So what does Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1947 allow the president? I got a few things here. So for balance of payments reasonings to impose across the board import surcharges, essentially it's basically tariffs. It's not basically tariffs, it is tariffs for up to 150 days. An extension beyond that window requires approval from Congress. So for at least the next 150 days, we've got a 10% tariff on any imports to the United States. It's going to be a lot lower than it was. We're going to be making a lot less money than we were. However, it's still good, and I'm sure Trump will have a bill relatively soon here in Congress, if they actually listen to him, which let's be honest, they haven't been. Even Republicans like Thomas Massey, they will just fight any bill that Trump puts out. So Trump doesn't. Republicans have Congress right now. They have the representatives. They have the Congress. Trump does not. And let me tell you something. The reason why. So to have the House, which is more accurate, to have the House, you have to have a majority. Republicans have just barely the majority. Not quite enough to actually get any bills passed. They need a few Democrats kind of bandwagon over to the Republican side to get anything passed. But they do have the majority, technically. Now, there are a few squished Republicans who are more center, or really just don't like Trump, which is fair. Trump is a very offensive person. He is very not radical. He's more harsh. He's not your typical politician who's going to tiptoe around. No, what he's going to say something, he's going to do it. That's Trump. So you've got these politicians who don't like that, and so they don't like Trump. Which is reasonable. I'm personally tired of Trump being in our political sphere for the past 10 years now. Yeah, 10. It's 2026. He started in 2016. So for 10 years, Trump has dominated the political spectrum. I'm tired of it, to be honest. It's not a bad thing that he is. He's getting a lot of stuff done. I'm glad he's back in office. However, it would be nice to see some fresh blood in there. Vance in 2028 would be great to have a new president. All right. Our next story, the sewage flows into the Potomac River, possibly because of DEI. So, this is something I've heard from across the Daily Wire, across the different news sources. Daily Wire is the one who's taking up the DEI story. I personally don't trust everything the Daily Wire says immediately, mostly because it's the Daily Wire. We all know where they stand. Very conservative, very Republican. That's where I would agree with. But you should never take anything at face value. You should do some of your own research. So the owner of the pipe that failed is the Potomac Interception System, which is owned by the DC Water Company, or District of Columbia Water and Sewer Authority. So that's who runs it. The CEO. Did I not put the name of the CEO on here? Did I do? No. It's on just a different sheet. The CEO of the DC Water and Sewer, the District of Columbia Water and Sewer Authority, is David Gaddis. David Gaddis. Now, I might have a picture of him up on the screen. I'm not sure how I'm going to edit this quite yet. First episode. But yes, there will be a picture there. I'm making that decision now. This is David Gaddis, and it doesn't take much to look at, or much observation to decide, to tell that he is black. Now, I off the bat have nothing against black people inherently. I know many black people who are very good at their job, who are better than white people at it. Many white people. And so I don't just disqualify anyone for being black. However, when I see someone in a high position who's black, I then question why they are there. So there is this video produced by American Waterway, I think. I forgot about it in my notes. I could not find that video. It was showed on the Daily Wire a few times. Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, if you go watch their shows from this past week, you could probably find that video. I couldn't. I wasn't going to take any videos from the Daily Wire. I wanted to find all my sources elsewhere, but I figured it's worth talking about this video in case it is real. I believe it is. I believe that most of what the Daily Wire says is going to be true, and they're not just trying to spin a false tale for their narrative. However, can't always trust them. What this video says about the about David Gaddis, it's him talking. It's him talking about when he started the job. And basically he said that when he came into the industry, he saw a lot, like something he saw amongst the industry quite well. Typically, you got a bunch of white people at the head, kind of leading it, and apparently a majority of the workers, about 70% of them, according to him, are black. I have not looked into this statistic. I would say that's really high, considering only like 30% of our country is black. So apparently most of them are in the water industry. That's rather high. But still, it's black, and he said that he wanted his board to represent those below. So if his employees were black, he wanted himself and his board representatives to be black. If they were women, he wanted them to be women. He didn't really say anything about if they were white. He just cared about whether they were black or women. So basically, exactly what DEI stands for. Now, like I said, I'm not against people being black inherently. I think there's a lot of great black people out there. I know a lot of great people, a lot of great black people. However, I am very much against DEI jobs. Giving someone a job just because they are black or just because they are a woman, that doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Because they don't deserve to be there. Now, if you give a high position job to a woman who has worked her way there, I'm fine with that. It makes a lot of sense. So I don't want all of our jobs to just go like one of the requirements has to be that you're a white man. I don't think we should have that. However, I am tired of these DI restrictions that no, your top people can't be white men. And I'm tired of that. I want to go back to where it was merit based, where you hired people not because of their skin color, not because of their sex. We don't believe in gender here. We don't believe in gender on this show. We believe in two sexes, male and female. I don't believe in hiring based on those factors. It's lazy. Those people don't necessarily deserve to be there. We don't know if they've put in the work. We don't know if they have the skills required. And it's political. It's politically correct and politically incorrect at the same time. Because it's racism. It's because it's sexism. If you are high DEI, and the premise of DEI is the most racist thing that has happened in America for a long time. Now, the White House recently posted this clip, and it accidentally scrolled to the next one because apparently whoever was in charge of making the clip was incompetent. I could say that because I actually know what to do when it comes to social media. Apparently, this person did not. So they screen recorded this clip about some fraud that was happening in the 2020 election. We're not going to get into that right now. It's old news, in my opinion. What's gone is gone. Well, when you are watching a clip on Instagram, it automatically scrolls to the next clip. Well, it scrolled to the next clip, and the screen recording continued for like a second, maybe not even. Now, I also don't have this clip, but the clip that it went to was this kind of musical video of Barack and Michelle Obama's faces on gorillas kind of dancing around. Now that's kind of racist. I'm going to be honest, that is kind of racist, if that was intentionally there. It's clear from the video posted by the White House that wasn't intentionally there, or if it was, whoever put it there should be fired for their job because it's sloppy work. and really whoever made that post should still be fired because this is the White House, no, it's the House of the President of the United States posting this, and they couldn't figure out how to cut a clip half a second. As someone who knows how to edit and knows how to handle social media, that's sloppy work. Just saying. So that people claim it was racist. The White House took it down. Donald Trump apologized to apes for putting Barack and Michelle Obama's faces on them and comparing them to apes. But if you actually go and find the post, it's not inherently racist. Instead, it's simply this AI kind of slop video. It was kind of funny, but it was still relatively slop of a bunch of Democrats' faces on animals singing in the jungle, the mighty lion sleeps night. Trump being the lion who's walking through, and all these Dems kind of like bowing down to him. It wasn't racist because later on we get this scene and we got a turtle and a baboon. The baboon's eating a banana up in the street. Well, whose faces are in what? Well, Joe Biden's is on the monkey, is on the ape, and Kamala Harris, a black woman, is on the turtle. So it's not inherently racist. People blew it out of the water and were trying to get something at Trump. All right, that's not what I was here to talk about. I was here to talk about pipes, but I just got on that tangent, and I'm kind of passionate about it. So, what happened? Sewage water is now in the Potomac. It's like 1,000 times high. E. coli readings are 1,000 times higher than it would be safe to swim in to even touch. Dogs aren't even supposed to go near it. Like, it's bad. So, what happened? Well, pipe burst, and it drained and flooded into the Potomac. Well, 1,000 feet away, DC Water had been rehabilitating a major section of sewer that ran along Clara Barson's Parkway. That's what happened. They had recently replaced it, and 1,000 feet away, it broke. So I just want to read a ex post from Nova Campaigns. We'll put it up on screen. What's going unreported is that the Potomac's interceptor sewage spill, largest in U.S. history, is happening just 1,000 feet down from where at DC Water has been rehabilitating the sewer line since September 8th, 2025, via slip lining process. DC Water has begun an 8-month construction project to rehabilitate a major sewer line that runs along Clara Barton Parkway, near I-495. The work, which started September 8th, focuses on restoring 800-foot segment of sanitary sewer system. So this is 1,000 feet away. They're trying to redo this via the slip lining process. For those of you unfamiliar with that, myself included, until I looked into this, they attached this picture which kind of explains it. Slip lining, a trenchless method of repairing or rehabilitating existing pipelines, such as sewer lines, water mains, and storm drains, by inserting a new, smaller pipe, the liner, inside the existing pipe. This process involves pulling or pushing the liner into the existing pipe, then sealing the space between the two pipes with grout or other materials. It is a less disruptive and costly alternative to full pipe replacement, particularly when the surrounding soil is still structurally sound. Okay, so basically, you've got the pipe. You got this pipe here that's all, it's been there. It works. It's kind of deteriorating, so they want to make sure rehabilitate it so it doesn't break and leak and all that. So what they do is they take this liner, you know, so this is our pipe. So we'll take this liner, smaller pipe, about the same size, slightly smaller, and they push and shove it in until it kind of fits just perfectly, just smaller, and it kind of holds it up. Should look like that, like seamlessly, you can barely see it. Well, I don't think that's what happened, because 1,000 feet before it, we got this pipe break. So what happened? Did the pipe just magically clog, or did it this project to reseal this go wrong? And it kind of started at this. So I think this is where it kind of puts back on the higher ups, and why I was kind of talking about David Gaddis earlier, because it was more of an executive decision. Was planning done wrong? Was it all engineered correctly? Because without it, it's quite easy for another pipe to break. So there's a lot of stuff that could have happened. A lot of finger pointing going on currently. I don't know. I don't know if it was the fact that he's a black man DI hire or what. It did break. It's under his control. He's been here for a year or two. I don't remember. And already he's got the Potomac flooded with sewage. Slip lining should be safe. The fact that it failed, backed up, yes, testament to DC Water's leadership and what it actually is. So, if you wanted to see the video I was talking about with David Gaddis earlier, there's, again, it's on a few Daily Wire videos. Matt Walsh is from this past Thursday, I think, covers it. One of Michael Knowles from this last week also covers it. If you want to go see that, go ahead. So Monday night, tragedy strikes Rhode Island with, surprise, surprise, yet another trans shooting in Rhode Island. Aren't we tired of this? I feel like every week there's another headline. Shooting, school shooting. And when you narrow it down, there's always one factor that's the same. These are trans people. And it's not hard to figure out why. Being trans in itself is a mental illness. Just being trans, by definition, is having a mental illness. Being a man who thinks you're a woman, or a woman who thinks you're a man, that is, by definition, a mental illness. It's body dysmorphia. It's thinking, or maybe not body dysmorphia, but spiritual dysmorphia, thinking your spirit is actually the spirit of the opposite sex. That's insane. These people should be thrown into the insane asylums that Trump recently reopened. They are not safe. How do we know this? Countless school shootings. Countless shootings. This one wasn't a school shooting. This was a man who thought he was a woman, wore a dress. His name was Roberts. Changed it to Roberta. Changed his last name too, and remember that. Came in, his ex-wife and his son, and I think some other kid, his son's siblings from another father or whatever, were there, and he ended up shooting the son, killed the son. I think he might have killed his ex-wife, or at least no. I think the son was the only death. He killed his son, injured the other kids at his hockey rink, injured his wife, and then shot himself. So these people, not only are they dangerous to others, but they're also suicidal. How in God's good name do we allow this? Still, the proof repeatedly shows that these people are suicidal. that these people are unstable. They are the highest demographic to commit suicide out of any demographic. They are the highest demographic to commit genocide, to just go and shoot people, to commit murder. How are these people still allowed on our streets? I don't know. Other news, Virginia changes one of their welcome state signs. It reads, "Welcome to Virginia. Virginia is for illegal aliens." For those of you listening, I am on Spotify. I'm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube for now. For those of you listening, it's one of those traditional welcome signs if you've traveled from state to state. It's big rectangular tangles. It's black with white. Actually, I'm looking at this in a grayscale version of it, so I don't know the color. Don't remember the coloring. I think it's yellow lettering, and then red heart, and saying "Welcome to Virginia. Virginia is for illegal aliens." There's a heart between the L and illegal and aliens for some reason that looks horrendous. It's a complete design error. And whoever designed that should be fired. We've fired a lot of people today. But I am digitally inclined. I am going to school currently for digital design. And this is a complete error. This should never have been passed. Despite the illegals, Virginia's for illegal aliens, that never should have gotten passed. That's straight up treasonous. But just that heart there, that doesn't make sense. Shouldn't be there. So speaking of aliens, Obama recently, we've talked about Obama twice in today's show. I hope not to have that be a common occurrence, but who knows? Obama recently said on a podcast interview that aliens are real. I don't have that clip, but the interviewer, I forget who it was, some small liberal YouTuber, podcaster. Everyone and their mom has a podcast now, myself included. I'm not exempting myself from that. Way too many people think their opinions matter, including myself. Mine really doesn't. If you're listening to it and you think it matters, I thank you for that. Spend a lot of time on these. But even my opinion, I'm not anyone important yet. Yet God has plans for me that I will keep to myself for now. But everyone has a podcast. That's getting kind of crazy. All these political podcasts, everyone wants their voice heard. No one actually has a good opinion. They're just reslurging the propaganda. I do my best not to. But Obama said they were real. And this podcaster, instead of being like, "Oh, interesting," he has this former president on a show who says aliens are real. Instead of being like, "Oh, really? Tell me more." He's like, "No." And he just ignores all that and goes on with the next question. And what is the first thing you asked about while as president? Obama apparently really wants the story out. So he says, "Well, are aliens true?" And again, this podcaster misses this chance. He drops the ball. He had this chance to talk about with this former president about aliens, and he dropped the ball. Not everyone can be a podcaster. It really is a gift. It really is a skill. Interviewing is a skill. I've not interviewed anyone in a long time. I would like to get someone on the show, do an interview with them. I'd have to get the right person. If the right time allows for it, Lord willing, we'll get some people on here. We'll interview them. I'd actually really love to interview JD Vance. I think that would be a great interview. But so the next day, Obama officially sends out a post, I think on X, saying, "Well, I don't actually know if aliens are real. I never saw them." He actually said that in the interview as well. He actually never saw the aliens. He just thinks they're real. He just says they're real. Later, he says that they could be real. They could be. Not that they are, that they could be. The universe is a big thing, and there could be aliens in the far extents of it. Blah, blah, blah. Interesting thing. Well, Trump, he made this really interesting because this happened Monday, I think. The interview was released Monday. Like Tuesday or Wednesday, Trump was on Air Force One, and the press asked him, "Are there aliens?" He says, "I can't talk about that. It's classified information." They're like, "Obama talked about it." He's like, "Yeah, Obama spilled classified information. He was not supposed to do it." And so people are wondering, are aliens real? Who knows? Trump said he might help Obama and get him out of hot water by unclassifying that information, but Obama could actually be fined or go to jail for revealing classified information. I do think I saw a headline that Trump was ordering that all information on aliens be revealed. I do not know if that is certain, but it might be coming. We'll maybe check in on that a little bit more next week if more information is revealed. Hopefully, it's not like the Epstein files that take 2 months for us to see anything, and then when we do see anything, it's not really anything, and then another 2 months and we actually get stuff. But yes, so that's all I have for the show today. It was time to talk about the Epstein files, but I've decided here on the Beacon we don't want to go that dark. Epstein files are pretty dark. They're pretty nasty stuff. Everyone and their mom is talking about them. If you want to learn about them, go watch. There's about 100,000 small like video essays on them on YouTube. Every little political podcaster is talking about them as well. Here at the Beacon, we want to be a light to the world. We are not here to smother that light with news of the Epstein files. So, we will not really be talking about them unless they become super important again, unless arrests start happening, like with Prince Andrew. But that's where we stand on the Epstein files as of currently. So thank you for watching. Remember, there's some news that's going on, but whatever the news, the purpose of the Lord will stand. And we will see you next week. Have a good day and God bless. There we go.